All eyes on Doge. Big runner. To the moon. Whew. Doge still going up. All eyes on Doge. Still big runner. To the moon. Keep going up. Going up. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin. Upward movement in Doge. Dogecoin. Up. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin. Upward movement in Doge. Dogecoin. 42.60. All eyes on Doge. Dogecoin.
Hey everybody, Kriss here. Welcome on a Friday. How's everybody doing? We're getting ready for a big snowstorm here in Boston. Not happy. I've had enough. I've had enough of the snow. But it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. That's the way we roll, right? Well, today was all about tariffs. So we're going to talk about tariffs and its impact on the market or lack thereof. And the uncertainty continues. Just when we thought the Supreme Court is going to make a decision and then that's the end of tariffs, Trump says, I'm not done yet. So yeah. But look, Dogecoin's over 10 cents. Yes, Dogecoin is here over 10 cents. Back in the yellow box. Yes, we did create this wonderful yellow box here from the big pullback that we had middle of February, and Dogecoin drifted below, hit this upward sloping resistance line or support line, and have come right back up into the yellow box. So yeah, we're right where we were on Monday. Just same, just nice little dip here, down to 9.5 cents and back up. So that's where Doge is, and Bitcoin is at 67.7. It had dropped down to about 65.7, and then in this morning's video, if you didn't see this morning's video, it was another banger. It was another good one. I gave a price target on Bitcoin at a lower price because of a huge leverage trade that was made by some big Bitcoin whale trader or something. And then, it has just a big target on it. So that was in my video this morning. But the markets largely just didn't, there's a lot of wicks, especially on this 4-hour chart. There's a lot of wicks up and down. Volume was high because of today and the Supreme Court announcement on the tariff. And then Trump gives a press conference, kind of a press conference. There weren't many questions asked because a question is asked and then Trump just rambles on for 10 minutes and then says the same thing over and over and over again because he only had one message, but we'll talk about that. How's everybody doing? Doing good today? Here we are, Friday afternoon, and we're on Monday. So it was like the week is gone. Yeah, the week just went by and we're right where we were. So that's what we got going on. But hey, when we look at this upward sloping support line here, generally the structure is okay. The structure is okay on this. I'm going to get, this is from the live stream on Wednesday, and I'm just going to delete that one. This is the one we want to watch here. Higher lows. We want to continue to see higher lows for Dogecoin in a recovery mode and see whether we're going to get some big relief rally coming or not. Bitcoin, again, I think is going to be in trouble because of that leverage trading. And we'll look at the heat maps and stuff like that. I turned this on and interesting in the 1 hour, what are the assets that are getting most liquidated? And it ends up being gold and silver shorts. The gold and silver shorts are getting liquidated. $1 million in gold shorts. It's like, who's shorting gold? When you knew this whole Trump thing was just going to be a big question mark. So where do traders go? They go to the safety and security of gold. So if you were shorting gold, it's like, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Shorting gold. Yeah, CNN is fake news. Poor Caitlin Collins. And Trump doesn't even give her a chance, right? She's all set to ask that question. He's like, yeah, no, fake news. That was good. So that's what's going on. Here's the big news, of course. U.S. Supreme Court's decision on Trump's tariffs may not rock crypto yet. And that yet is because the can is getting kicked down the road. Yes, the can is getting kicked down the road. Because Trump said, fine, if I can't use those tariffs, I'll use other tariffs. Because apparently the tariffs were all on that Emergency Powers Act thing. And the Supreme Court in a 6-3 ruling said, no, you can't do that. But the three that supported and gave a dissenting opinion basically laid out a roadmap for Trump to do new tariffs in a more legal manner than those emergency power ones. And Trump was like, okay, I can still call the other Supreme Court justices names. So what does he do? He says, hey, oh, that was this one. Effective immediately, all national security tariffs, section 232 and existing 301 tariffs remain in place with the full force in effect. And I don't know how that works. However, he says, I'm signing an executive order to impose a 10% global tariff under section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. So basically, Trump's saying, screw you, I'm just going to keep doing it. Yeah, he said other countries are rich because of the U.S. Because in order for us to export our goods to other countries, which other countries like our stuff that we make, they impose tariffs on us. And all Trump has been saying all along for the last year is it should at least be fair. Mr. Khan, how are you? Nice to see you. Welcome. Trump is basically saying, hey, we should at least just have reciprocal tariffs. They should be the same. Of course, he started doing these punitive tariffs if he wasn't getting his way. And that's not a thing. Gagosava, I like tariffs. If a country is going to impose tariffs on our goods, then we should impose tariffs on their goods. Simple as that. Eye for an eye, same. That's where I am. Trump uses it as punitive leverage. If he doesn't get what he wants, then he imposes more tariffs. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. So 1-to-1. If you're going to charge us 10%, we charge you 10%. That's how it should be. Some countries don't have good stuff. I get it. And that's the case. We still charge them a tariff if they charge us a tariff. That's it. You want our stuff? Then don't charge a tariff. We won't charge you a tariff. It works. That's all it should be. But no, they make it all complicated. And then there was this whole thing about refunding tariffs. And that was the big news from last night to this morning was refunding tariffs. And it's like, there's no refund. There's no refund. And Trump basically said, look, if the opposition wants to litigate tariff refunds, first he said 2 years. It'll be 2 years, right, in litigation. And then later he said probably 5 years of litigation. So it's like, there's not going to be refunds. So in the end, Trump's going to kind of get his way because that's what he always does. That's what he always does. But he can still call those Supreme Court justices that voted against him as being whatever he said. It was just like, So that's what's going on. And of course, the markets did basically nothing. There was some wicks up and down. And again, that was just taking out short-term leverage on the wicks up and down here on this 4-hour chart. Here's Bitcoin now at 67.7 here, under the support line of the yellow box, like it should have been holding up here at 68.2. It is not there. This is the 3.5% on the vertical here in the box. Dogecoins is also 3.5%. Dogecoins just looks smaller because of the more volatile action on Dogecoin's price. And big wicks on Doge. I mean, look at that 4-hour wick there. Look at that. It's just a little body, and the wicks go way up and way down. That's the volatility that we had trading today, with the uncertainty of what was going to happen with the whole tariff thing. So that's behind us now. The markets didn't dump. All these guys on crypto Twitter were just going, oh, Supreme Court's going to vote against Trump and the markets are going to dump. Well, they didn't. They didn't. It just, Dogecoin's actually holding up pretty well. So that's not bad. Tiny Crypto says, hey, let's look at Bitcoin. So in Bitcoin, he's identifying what he calls a reload zone based on the 61.8 Fibonacci down to 78.6, which is the range that we had in the bear market of 2022. So if we use those same percentages here in 2026, Bitcoin will drop into this box and will range down, maybe down to about 40K. 40K would be the bottom of this range, down to the 786 fib retracement, which it hit near the end of 2022. And of course, that was based on, of course, FTX going bankrupt, which, how does Sam Bankman-Fried, how is he able to post? How is he able to post on X Twitter from jail? Because that bottom of the bear market was FTX. And guess what? SBF, he's back. 10 myths about me and FTX. Right? He's writing essays from jail and basically saying, look, FTX was insolvent, $8 billion vanished. And he says, no, not true. FTX was solvent, lost $8 billion of customer money. He says is not true. The money is gone, the media says. Truth, FTX was solvent and is repaying customers. Well, this is the thing, though. And of course, I remember all of this because that's not true. SBF is lying because they're repaying customers in today's dollars, but on the price point of their crypto back in 2022. So if your crypto holdings were $100,000 because you had, 7 Bitcoin, right? If you had 7 Bitcoin was worth $100,000 in December of 2022. So they're only going to pay you $100,000 on your repayment, plus a little extra. He's saying 119 to 140%. They're not paying you 7 Bitcoin back. No, they're paying you the cash equivalent of what the price was back in 2022. So myth number 1, well, his so-called truth is not true. Not true. They're repaying customers back on the fiat value of the crypto that they held in 2022. So they all missed out on the gains all the way up to 125K and now back down to 70K, whatever the price is now. And so everybody was stuck. So yeah, but I mean, here's SBF, right? He's like, now somebody supposedly is posting this stuff for him because he doesn't have access to a computer. So he could be like typing all this stuff out and then he's got somebody acting on his behalf on his account making these posts. Oh, the account does say something now. SBF's words posted through a proxy. There it is right there. Posted through a proxy. Okay. We can use BOP-approved phone calls, emails to tell others what to post. So that's what it is right there. So yeah, SBF, his words, somebody else posting on his behalf, and the first so-called truth is wrong. It's wrong. People don't look at the details of the stuff, but I do. I look at the details of the stuff. So anyway, if you hear stuff about FTX repayments and stuff like that, that's really what it's about. So anyway, Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin could come down to 40K, 78.6 retracement if it repeats 2022. That's the big news there. On the 4-hour chart, CryptoPulse is saying this little move up is likely a fake out. Bitcoin broke out of its bull flag, but no strong volume or momentum. RSI still below 50. MACD histogram green is fading already. It's already turning back around. High chance this is just a fake out with price likely heading back to 64, 65. And I say, no, it's going to be 62. And I say 62 because of the trader that I identified this morning in this morning's video, who's doing some big 54 or something $million long leverage trade that has a liquidation price of like 62.8 or something. So that's where the price is most likely going to go because it's got a big target on it. And so I believe in CryptoPulse's big arrow coming down. Now, when is that going to happen? Is that going to happen before a relief rally or after a relief rally? We will see. But that is what is going on with Bitcoin. So how about Doge? Doge tipping, always doing a great job making up graphics and things like that, talking about Dogecoin and how Dogecoin solves or integrates with a whole bunch of different things here. As a social layer, Dogecoin, of course, is tips. If you want to send me a tip in Dogecoin, you can do that. My wallet is in the description below. I accept tips. We do Dogecoin giveaways as well, often as part of our social layer here on the KrissPax YouTube channel. It's Doge. It's Doge. Nobody's doing this with Bitcoin, right? Tips are for Doge. With X, we're waiting for X money, Doge merch. There was a while. Yeah, they were doing stuff with Dogecoin, and now they're not, but hopefully that comes back. How is Tesla going to use Dogecoin in the future? We will see. SpaceX, of course, has the Doge One, but that's not really directly SpaceX. As we have talked about on this channel, it's really more about geometric and exobotics. Are they really going to come through with their satellite, the Doge One thing and all that? We'll see. And then there's this whole imagination thing with Neuralink, and he says Doge thoughts. It's like, I don't know how that works, but okay. We also have Doge OS, which is still in beta, and we're waiting for that release as the app layer on top of Dogecoin. And of course, we're going to hear all about a non-coin, and it's going to be transferring over from Solana onto Dogecoin, which I am not a fan of those things. And even more, I learned this week about the pump tokens. And it's like having that on a Dogecoin blockchain. I shake my head. I shake my head. ADN Multimedia. Okay, let me clear the truth here, because again, this was 2021, long time ago, and you just may not be hearing it directly, but it was on a Saturday Night Live skit. And what many believe is they went off script and kind of painted Elon in a corner. That's what I've heard, but I remember seeing it live, and it was that one part where during the whatever it is, the news segment, where the guy was baiting him into admitting that it was a hustle. And in the end, he just said, okay, it's a hustle, just to get it done with, I think. So It was a Saturday Night Live skit, ADN, okay? Just want to clear that up for you. All right, and the price was already tanking from noon on Saturday because it was getting heavily shorted by Barry Silbert and his buddies. The price was already going down throughout the day. It didn't start dropping during Saturday Night Live. So if you're going to be saying things like that, you should do your research and look at it in more detail about everything else that was going on. Yes, it wasn't good. The whole Saturday Night Live thing ended up not turning out good. And of course, the media just pounced on the whole Saturday Night Live narrative as to why the Dogecoin price was going down. But again, to me, it was more like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. But it was getting heavily shorted. And in fact, it didn't even hit 73 cents on May 8th, 2021. It actually hit it on May 7th, the day before. And then was already in the 50s on May 8th because it was getting so heavily shorted. So I'm just clearing that up so you understand. That's what happened. Anyway, I digress just because I saw that chat and I just needed to clear that up. Our friend John has a nice little post here. Regardless of the problem, Dogecoin is the solution. That's it. Dogecoin solves everything, right? Doesn't it? Dogecoin solves everything. That's it. Yeah. So that's what we got. We're over 10 cents, back in the yellow box for Dogecoin. Bitcoin 67.6, not back in its yellow box, which, as some Fox does point out, that Chainlink and Dogecoin are outperforming Bitcoin. There's a number of others too that are doing well. Litecoin had a nice run today. Litecoin went up 4.5% today. So over certain periods of time, we see outperformance. Typically on green days, Dogecoin is going to outperform Bitcoin, but on red days, Bitcoin outperforms Doge. And that happens about 98% of the time. We just had one last week where on a red day, Dogecoin actually didn't fall as much as Bitcoin. And that was because of the heavy manipulation for liquidations on Bitcoin. But today it was about gold and silver and taking out the shorts. And so we see that going on. Somehow baby Doge is going up. I don't know why baby Doge would go up and be taking out shorts. I don't know who's shorting baby Doge. I mean, of all of the cryptos to short, you're choosing baby Doge. Okay. Well, you're getting taken out. It's just like one of those things, right? That's what it is. If we switch to the 24-hour, you get like Bitcoin, 67 million on shorts, ETH, 37 million on shorts. So overall, over 24 hours, we end up with another $180 million in liquidations. Yes. I don't know how many consecutive days that is over $100 million of leverage continuing to get wiped out. So gold is doing well. Last I checked, it was back up over 5,000, going up higher. Let's take a look. Gurinder. Gold, 5094. Look at that. This is on a 4-hour chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive green candles on a 4-hour chart. Let's look at silver. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive green candles on silver, back up over 80,000. It's now, or $80. It's now up to $84. Silver going up as well. Again, this was part of the tariff narrative that was already playing out, where the uncertainty of tariffs causes investors to go to precious metals. So gold and silver continue to go up because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen. Hey, Harold, how are you? When was the last time Bitcoin touched 57? Let me see. I would say the last time Bitcoin, before I look, I'm going to guess. The last time Bitcoin was 57 would have been in, let me guess, September 2024. That'll be my guess. Will be September 2024. How wrong is Kriss on that? 57. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's first draw a line at 57. This is a fun little game. It's a fun little game. We'll draw the line at 57. Right there. And then we'll go to the daily and we'll zoom out. And let's follow it. Is Kriss right? Oh, is Kriss right? I could probably go to the weekly and find it sooner. But I'm just playing the game, right? I'm playing the game. We're back to March of 2025. Still in the 90s. We are now in November 2024. We're getting closer. Ha! And there it is. September 11th, 2024. September 11th, 2024. How good is Kriss? How good is Kriss? I know, Gurinder, right? Was that luck? It proves I'm a market maker. It proves. No, I just pay attention to the markets. That's all. I've been doing this a long time. But yeah, thanks. I got it spot on. There it is, 57K. September 2024. That was fun. It's just one of those things. Just one of those things. We were doing a lot of charting way back when. I don't even know what all this stuff was. Oh, this was looking at, I know what that was. This is the 2022 relief rally that we had on Bitcoin. We had a dump, we had a relief rally, and then a further dump, which I still think we're going to do this cycle right here. We had the first dump, relief rally up, and then dump lower. I think that's going to happen. But we'll see. We shall see how that plays out. The 8-ball. The 8-ball. Right there. 8-ball. It's always close. Too bad the 8-ball can't answer a question like that. It's just yes or no questions for the 8-ball. Yep. But yeah, not bad. Not bad. On red days, Bitcoin outperforms Doge. Yes, Lark, that is correct. On the red days, Doge, 98% of the time, drops at a higher percentage or drops lower than Bitcoin. Yep. Now, occasionally there are green days. I would say on the green days, it would be 98% Doge outperforming Bitcoin. But there are some certain days when it's Bitcoin leading the charge. So that does happen. That does happen. I wanted to see what's going on with baby Doge. Baby Doge. Yeah, see, baby Doge is spiking up. Why is baby Doge spiking up? That's bizarre. Well, somebody's shorting it and they're getting liquidated on baby Doge. How do you tell your wife or girlfriend? It's like, sorry, we lost all our money. I was shorting some crypto. And she says, which one? And you say, baby Doge. Baby Doge. I know, right? But as soon as you zoom out, you'll see baby Doge tells a different story. And from the high in December of 2024, baby Doge is down 94%. 94%, my friends. So baby Doge on the big scale, yeah, not doing well. 94% down. So yeah, that's not good. Baby Doge. So yeah, it can go up 5%, and on the weekly chart, it's meaningless. It doesn't even show up much. And in fact, it's still down for the week, even though it's up 5% today. It's still down on the week. It's a red candle for the week still on baby Doge. That's because it is, wow, it is at a price that it hasn't seen since 2021 when it launched. That is right. Baby Doge is at a price that it hasn't seen since it was launched. So if you're buying baby Doge now, you are buying the bottom. All of this trading, all this great trading, up and down and up and down. If you buy, well, if you bought yesterday, you'd be better off percentage-wise than 99% of the baby Doge holders. Is there potential that baby Doge is going to go on another run? Sure. If when the memes start running and there's liquidity available, yeah, baby Doge will probably do okay. I'm not buying it. No way. No way. Hey, Super Dave. In God we trust, in Doge we... Oh, derp. Con, would be hilarious if this was the bottom of Bitcoin and all the four-year cyclists completely miss it. It would be. If Dogecoin 8 cents that it hit on February 5th and Bitcoin 60K, the 60K that it hit. And that was February 5th right there. I've got it circled on my chart here. That little orange circle right there. That's 60K on February 5th. That would have been the bottom. If it drops lower than that, the four-year cycle is still in play. If it doesn't, if Bitcoin does not go back down and revisit 60, because a lot of people waiting to buy, they didn't buy on that dip, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting. You're right, Con. That they will miss out, and they'll be buying on a green candle instead of a red candle. That's a good narrative to be watching for. Our arcade says a black swan in 10 days will see Doge down to 7.77 in 10 days. Okay, what happens in 10 days, arcade? What happens in 10 days? Is it the World War III? It's not going to be World War III. No, see, it's war. It's not going to be a war. Now, that doesn't mean the United States might not fire a bunch of missiles at someone, but it's not technically a war. We're not going to see like troops and tanks and all that stuff. So, yeah, there will be no Iran war. Exactly. It's not going to be an Iran war. I agree, Con. So the Black Swan event would need to be something related to crypto that just shakes it all. But if people are upset about the rumor, well, that maybe that's keeping crypto depressed still. And it's not, and crypto isn't going on any big runs now because of that rumor that's hanging over, but it's not going to be a black swan, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to see that. And the tariffs are just going to continue to keep the markets uncertain as we go forward as well. Now, the whole oil industry could get disrupted because they won't be able to go through the Strait of Hormuz because Iran will be blasting anything that goes through there. So there's that. But there are tariffs, Danny. You missed the whole thing. Trump says, Supreme Court can say what it wants. I'm going to do what I want. No, he talked about these other security tariffs, or the national security tariffs, he says will remain in place. And he's going to sign a new order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122, another 1974 trade pact clause, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. That's what Trump said. So he's going to push it. He's got a lot of good attorneys on his side that are going to continue to push it. So, okay, Arcade, we'll mark your words. Can Binance be liable? Oh, there's probably some legalese clause in there that says anything like that happens isn't going to be their fault. That'd be my guess. No stop losses. Are you talking about October 10th? Are you going back to October 10th? Or are you talking about something else? Because we covered that October 10th liquidation event in great detail last fall. Every time a goose lays that egg, it turns out to be brown and smells like gold. Exactly. Yeah, he gets 150 days, I guess. But I didn't know if the 150 days was the new tariff or the continuation of the old tariff. I thought there was going to be like no tariff for 3 days and then they're going to come back. I don't know. It's all confusing. It's very confusing. But they are going to continue. It is going to continue. Uncertainty. And the markets don't like uncertainty, which is why gold and silver are going up. The stock market didn't dump. It kind of ended up, a bit sideways, didn't it? I think it all ended up about sideways. Let's see, S&P 500, yeah, all under 1%. NASDAQ, Dow Jones, 0.5%. Just not a lot of movement in the stock market. Tesla ended up even, just sideways. So, yeah, not a big event. And it was Friday as well. Typically on Fridays, you don't see much. So, politics, I know, right? And a lot of times, the media is always looking for a narrative on why the markets are doing what they're doing. And today, there's no narrative. The markets just kind of shrug their shoulders and say whatever at this point. Tariff schmariff, right? The market just shrugged its shoulders. But it's nice to know Doge was up over 2% today. That's good. See if it holds 10 cents. It's down now to 10.05 right now, but it's still above. So we have that. We have that. So what do you guys think of the 4-year cycle and the and this narrative here? Do you guys like these fib retracement percentages? Is Bitcoin actually going to drop into this red box here between the 6218 and the 78.6, just like it did back in 2022? And then we end up looking at things like ETH, and we go to and we look at the ETH returns here on the monthly, and you just go, let me go to ETH here real quick. And you look at ETH, and I looked at this morning as well, that we've had 6 red months in a row on Ethereum. That's September, October, November, December of 2025, and so far, January and February of 2026. That's 6 red months in a row. And we're not even in the summer. Back in 2018, when there were these 7 reds in a row, that was through the summer and into the early fall, which makes sense. But we're not even in the summer yet, when you would normally see. There's more reds in the summer than anything else for ETH. So that's not good. That's not good. And how does Dogecoin look? Let's take a look. You've got a new website. You won't even accept. Fine, whatever. 2018 for Dogecoin actually was pretty good in the summer. It only had 2 red months, and then it was green for 3. So I don't know what was happening between Doge and ETH back then, when ETH was all red. But Dogecoin, again, has October, November, December, and then January, February, which is 5 months in a row. But interesting that Dogecoin's only down 3% in February, which is pretty good. My price prediction for February was going to be, it's going to end right around where it started. If you watched my February price prediction video, it was, I think Doge is going to end up right about at the end of the month, right where it started at the beginning of the month. And I'm only 3% off right now. Where ETH is down 19%. Why would ETH be down 19% and Dogecoin only 3% in February? Why do you think? I know why. I think ETH is down roughly 20% for the month of February and Doge only 3%. I have my theory. What do you guys think? Have there ever been 2 black swans in one cycle? Yeah, 2022. We had Luna, 3 Arrows Capital, Voyager, Celsius, BlockFi, and FTX from May until November. Bam, bam, bam. And that was directly related to crypto, and that's why 2022 sucked so much. That was bad. 2022 was bad. When have we ever seen 5 green months in a row during the summertime? I would say never. And when you say we, are you looking at ETH? ETH has had reds every summer. Never had a full summer of greens. Bitcoin has always had a red June or July, except for 2017, which is when Bitcoin was going on its big run. So there's the exception right there. It was Bitcoin 2017. So I stand corrected. Arcade. Bitcoin did it once. Bitcoin did it once. In 2025, Bitcoin did it for 4 months, but then went red in August. But 2017, that was a very green summer. In Dogecoin, I think Dogecoin has always had a red. Yeah. It's never gone through the summer all green. It was close last year. It just had June. June was red. But it was green April, May, July, August, and September. It was only June where it was red. Interesting. Interesting. Yep. And that's what we see is the 4-year cycle is still alive. It's all-time high to all-time high and pretty much low to low. Although it's a little squonky because of again 2022's low was delayed. And when I look at the high to high, it's actually 3 years and 11 months, which ties into days after the halving, because the Bitcoin halving is not exactly every 4 years. The past 2 cycles, it has been about 3 years, 11 months is what we've seen. ETH is getting smashed because all those treasury companies are unloading all the ETH they had on their balance sheets, except Tom Lee and Bitmain continue to buy huge amounts. They're not selling. Tom Lee is not selling. He's buying more. No, in my opinion, it's the leverage traders. It's the leverage traders on ETH. Huge dollar amounts being long leverage trades on every big dip. And then Wintermute comes in on behalf of Binance and takes them out. And down ETH goes. You never thought Bitcoin would fall from 120 to 60. I know, right? There were all kinds of big price predictions for last December, 200K. And I guess even this year as well. George is having a nice day. It's snowing here. Yeah, it's snowing. And then it's going to snow again Sunday night, big time. Tom Lee will get the last laugh. Probably, but it's going to be years. Years. He's making these crazy predictions like for this year, just like he did last year, and he's been wrong and wrong, but he keeps buying. So eventually, ETH will go back up, just like Bitcoin will, because again, Michael Saylor and Strategy B, they're in the red. All of their Bitcoin that they've held is now at an average price of like $73,000, $74,000. And Bitcoin is at 67. So they're like $5 billion in losses on all their Bitcoin holdings. Eventually, most likely, Bitcoin will go back up. They'll be back in the green and everything will be great. I don't think it's going to be on the timeline that Michael Saylor is saying or Tom Lee, though. The market's just, there's no energy in the markets. There's no liquidity for retail buying to pump the markets back up right now. It's just not there. So ETH will drop hard again. I believe that. I believe we're going to have more capitulation. We're going to have more prices coming down. It's a bear market. Something else is going to come along. The market's going to react downwards, which I think Arcade might be right. Doge goes to 7.7 cents. We could see that. So you think a short-term relief rally, then a dump. Yep, that's what I think. Exactly, Arcade. And it's gonna play out over some time. It's not going to be immediate. Although the little relief rally we had at the beginning of January was pretty brief. I thought that one was going to last a little longer. Nope, it didn't. Wait for Kramer to say sell. Yeah, the anti-Kramer, right? Anti-Kramer. What can you say? DC Blur waiting for Doge lower prices. Yeah, that's what I was saying this morning as well. And even my posted comment on this morning's video was like, we could see higher prices, which would be good for Doge, but I bet there's still a lot of you that want lower prices. You can buy more Doge at a lower price. Because there's always some of you out there, right? Who just can't wait for Doge to go lower so you can buy in at a lower price. Yeah. Hey, Jason, you made it. This is the way Doge moves. I doubt there's much leverage trading now. Oh, they keep coming back. And as soon as there's a tasty entry point, particularly for Doge, it will get leverage traded. That will happen. But right now, it's silver and gold. Look at silver now. Silver just passed gold in the last hour. The shorts on silver are getting liquidated as silver's price keeps going up. $84.05 now. $84.52 for silver. Been all day. Just all day. Pumping up. That line I deleted might come into play. Maybe. Well, no, we're going to be too far past it, I think. So that line won't come back into play. It'll be a new line. Want to see the heat maps? Sure. Look at the heat maps. Bitcoin has new leverage both above and below the current sideways trading. Right there. New leverage trading. We got yellows above and yellows below. That's $71 million there at 66.8. 71 million. Wow. You think silver is going to correct on Monday? Yeah, upwards. It's going to keep going up, I think. That's what I think is going to happen. I got logged out. Why did it log me out? Here, let me just take this. Come over here. Do it over on the side. Why did I get logged out? It wants me to reset my password. I don't want to do that right now. No, thanks. Sorry. I'll do that later. I will do that later. Next cycle Doge should hit 80 cents. It doesn't have to. Again, that 2021 high was so overhyped, so much FOMO, all on that Elon stuff. I don't know if we're going to get that much excitement again. I don't know. So I don't think should is the right word. I would say could, but not should. Time to sell grandma's silverware. Yeah, I'm waiting for the summer as well, and more toward the end of the summer. like beginning of October, beginning of August and beginning of September. Those are my 2 buy periods right now that I'm looking at. I'm not huge into stocks, but I'll be buying MicroStrategy one day. You think Saylor is a visionary? Yeah, I'm really uncertain about MicroStrategy stock. Just because it's going to be a long ways. There's going to be all this FUD about MicroStrategy that's just going to continue because the price of Bitcoin is below their average price of all the Bitcoin that they bought. And I don't think that's changing anytime soon. So. Well, and there will be a meme coin season, right? Something like that will happen. And you'll have the Pepe and the Floki and all of those will be up big, along with Doge and Sheeb, and that'll happen. It happens every cycle. Kriss will stack big time. Yes, Kriss will stack big time. Yeah, I'm waiting for the end of summer. I'm just going to be biding my time. MicroStrategy is the next FTX. I mean, they're certainly heavily leveraged. They made this preferred stock. They've got a lot of bonds and other stuff that's out there, all relying on Bitcoin. And if there is some big negative thing that impacts crypto, I mean, huge, like all of a sudden quantum computing can like crack Bitcoin. It's something weird like that. I think it'll be something different than quantum. The quantum thing has been talked about for over a year, but it could be something. Could be something. I'm keeping my silver. I've got a couple silver pieces. I've got a nice silver like cake cutter, cake slicer. It's pretty nice. I'm not selling it. My kids can have it. They can fight over it. But I'm not selling it. Michael Saylor is in the Epstein files? I didn't see that. I did not see that. And there's still some uncertainty about was he involved, how involved he was in Bitcoin. But again, Bitcoin was made back in 2008. And he doesn't really show up until like 2013 in the Bitcoin scene. So that's what I've read. JK. Thank you, Arcade. Next time you make one of those posts, you have to put the emoji, the laughing emoji, in the post itself right then, so we know that you're being sarcastic or making a joke. That's the rules here on KrissPax in the chat. You got to put the laughing emoji in the same post. Otherwise, I think you really mean it. Yeah, you can say it. Be sarcastic as you want. Just give me an emoji. Just so I know. Just so I know. Oh. All right, gang. That's what we got for today. That's about it. It's a Friday. I'll be live again on Monday. Probably have a video come out sometime over the weekend. And then we'll be live on Monday. If there's something weird that goes on, something crazy, which I'm totally not expecting over this weekend, I could do an emergency live, which is why you need to be subscribed with your notifications on so you know if I do something off schedule. Hey, Nick, nice of you to join. I'm just leaving now. Yeah, kind of a sideways day. It ended up being actually up 2% for Doge. We're going to see whether we hold 10 cents as support here. So we'll be watching that. We'll be watching the leverage traders over the weekend to see whether Bitcoin drops down or not. That's what I'm looking for. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm going to be in the snow. It's not going to be fun up here in Boston, it looks like. It is what it is. So yeah, we'll see you all next time.
Dogecoin, which started as a complete joke, has like skyrocketed to not a joke anymore. It hit an all-time high of almost 10 cents yesterday, but it was so minuscule you wouldn't have understood why you have millions of shares.
Didn't Elon tweet that too?
And arguably, the most entertaining outcome and the most ironic outcome would be that Dogecoin becomes the currency of Earth in the future.